Chapter 13. Code with Python Turtle Control Statements. Topics covered: conditional statements in Python, loops in Python, what is indentation, what are variables, drawing geometrical shapes in Python using Turtle. Everything that you have learned so far has consisted of sequential execution, in which statements are always performed one after the next, in exactly the order specified. But the world is often more complicated than that. Frequently, a program needs to skip over some statements, execute a series of statements repetitively, or choose between alternate sets of statements to execute. That is what control structure does. A control structure directs the order of execution of the statements in a program. It is also referred to as the program's control flow. Conditional statements in Python. Conditional statement in Python performs different computations or actions depending on whether a condition evaluates to true or false. Conditional statements are handled by if statements. If statement is used for decision-making operations. It contains a body of code which runs only when the condition given in the if statement is true. If the condition is false, then the optional else statement runs, which contains some code for the else condition. When you want to justify one condition while the other condition is not true, then you use Python if-else statement. Python if-else statement syntax. If expression. Statement 1. Else. Statement 2. Python if. Else flowchart. Start. Condition true. Yes. No. Execute code in if block. Execute code in else block. Execute code in outside if block. If expression is true, then statement 1 is executed. If expression is false, then statement 1 is skipped and the statement 2 is executed. Note that the colon following expression is required. Some programming languages require expression to be enclosed in parentheses. Loops in Python. What is loop? Loops can execute a block of code n number of times till the condition is true. Python has for loop and while loop. What is for loop? For loop is used when you are sure how many times you want to execute the statements. How to use for loop? In Python, for loops are called iterators. For loop is used to repeat the program. For loop depends on the elements it has to iterate. Syntax. For I in range, n. Statement. Here the statement would execute n number of times. What is while loop? If you are not sure about the number of times a loop has to execute and instead you want the statements to execute till the condition is satisfied, then while loop is better choice. How to use while loop? While loop does the exactly same thing what if statement does, but instead of running the code block once, they jump back to the point where it began the code, and repeats the whole process again. Syntax. While expression. Statement. Here the statement would execute till the expression evaluates to true. Let us analyze the program to draw a square. It is time taken to copy-paste the same exact lines of code, highlighted 4 times in a row. Wouldn't it be great if we could just tell Python to repeat the code for us? Therefore, we can draw a square with the help of loop also. Let us try writing the same program using for loop as if we repeat the 2 highlighted lines 4 times. The program would draw a square. There is a concept of indentation when we use loops or if-else in Python. What is indentation? Indentation is used to define a block of code and it is essential when we are using loops and conditional statements. Indentation is nothing but a set of white space. The statements that are on the same level are considered as the same block statements. What are variables? One of the powerful things about computers and programming is that they can do work endlessly without getting bored like humans. For example, What if we wanted to draw a hexagon shape with 6 sides? By how many degrees should we turn each time? What if we want a shape with 15 sides? Rather than computing the number each time ourselves, we can instead define variables and use a formula to find the output. Here, we have set the number of sides to be 6, and the side length to be 70. What happens if we change the variables num sides and side length? Import turtle as t. Num sides 6. Side length equals 70. Angle equals 360.0/num sides. For in range, num sides. T dot forward side length. T dot right angle. The program would draw different polygon of different size. Let us try draw different types of polygon with the same program. Draw different types of polygon with the help of same program. In the above program, nth input will help to accept a numeric number in n, and then the for loop draw the polygon of n sides. For example, if you input 6 as the value of n, press enter key, the program would draw a hexagon. Keep on changing the value of n and see how the different polygon is drawn each time. Draw a star with the help of for loop. To draw a star, you should execute the loop 5 times. In every iteration, move the turtle 100 units forward and move it right 144 degrees. This will make up angle 36 degrees inside a star. 5 iterations will make up a perfect star. Draw a circle inside another circle. As we can see the output, multiple circles are drawn using the while loop. Every time the loop executes the new circle which is larger than the previous one. The n is used as a counter whose value increases in each iteration. Let us understand the iteration of the loop. In the iteration, the initial value of n is 10, means the turtle draw the circle with a radius of 10 units. In the second iteration, the value of n is increases by 10 plus 10 equals 20. The turtle draws the circle with a radius of 20 units. In the second iteration, the value of n is increases by 20 plus 10 equals 30. The turtle draws the circle with a radius of 30 units. In the second iteration, the value of n is increases by 30 plus 10 equals 40. The turtle draws the circle with a radius of 30 units. Draw Olympic rings in Python turtle. Draw spiral square in Python turtle. Spiral figures are made by reducing the length of side by a fixed number in each iteration. Following are the steps that you must follow to draw any spiral figure. Step 1. Choose a length of the side of a figure and assign it to a variable side. For example, side of a figure is 100 units. Side equals 100. Step 2. Run a for loop for a considerable time, and in that loop use forward and right function of turtle. Pass the side variable to forward function and pass the value of an exterior angle of a figure to right function. After that, reduce the length of the side by a fixed number. Let us draw spiral square.